As we know, life is very expensive.
I'm pretty sure I'll live in apartments or rent forever.
Full-time job. Not doing it. Got a second job. It's barely doing it. The third job. Hit or miss. If I even get paid on time. I feel like I'm drowning.
Wow, welcome back. Today we are talking about the crisis millennials are experiencing as they approach middle age. Those were millennials speaking out on social media about their financial struggles, like 30-year-old Jordan from Tempe, Arizona, who went viral for her emotional video breaking down her money problems. Jordan joins us now, and joining us by Skype, 39-year-old Amanda. She's from Denver, Colorado, who says the cost of living for millennials is very different than it was for their parents and grandparents. Welcome to the conversation. Thank you both for joining us. Jordan, you posted that video, and I always tell people, be careful what you share, because once you share it, it belongs to the public, and the public has got an opinion. 3 jobs. You had $40 in the bank. That video, 8 million views.
Yes.
Why did you want to share that vulnerable moment?
Well, I think I just hit a point where, well, one, my mom wasn't answering my call. So I was like, I'm just going to put this somewhere and just vent, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't posted on TikTok in a few months at that point, and I was kind of curious. I was like, I need to do something different, or is this just a problem that a lot of people are, facing? So I genuinely asked the question, just, am I the only one that's feeling this way? I know it could be a little bit of both, of like maybe me not spending it the right way, but also like, why do I have 3 jobs and I'm having, I have $40 in the bank account and the first is in 3 days and I don't get paid till the 6th.
And that's the part that really, the idea that you feel like you're drowning.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful sensation and feeling. Reshma, you talked about that there's been a con sold to women. What did you mean by that? You said it earlier.
And it's interesting as you're saying, it's like, it is like the 30s and the 40s are supposed to be when you make it, when you get a house, when you get some money, when you have some stability. You're supposed to be bored as hell by the time you get to my age, right? But if you're struggling, you don't even get there. So like for what I have found is that women in midlife get a midlife penalty, right? And that is like a cost that goes to their health and financial well-being because society deems them past their prime. We don't talk about this, but the largest gender pay gap is for women over the age of 50. 75 cents on every dollar. The other thing is, there's a lot of conversation now around perimenopause and menopause. 15% of women will leave the job force because of menopause symptoms. And we invest the least amount financially in understanding that their health consequences. So my point is like, if you know you're going downhill at 50, you better feel like you can actually march up into the middle class when you're 30s.
Right.
And we are failing young people right now.
Failing them. Jessica, you did research. You talked to people all around the country. Do you see this line between men and women more than ever before as we approach it?
Well, I think the real game changer for many is motherhood, because women are still doing the lion's share of childcare, the domestic responsibilities, and so before they have kids, I didn't see much of a difference. But once kids came into the picture, especially when they're 0 to 5, that's a real difference, and it really weighs on people. One of my favorite quotes from a woman who was 38, had 2 young kids, and she said, midlife crisis, that's a boomer problem. I just take more Lexapro.
Right.
Right. So,
Amanda, you started your conversation online. It's called What a Millennial Midlife Crisis Looks Like. It's been seen 1.4 million. You're 39 years old. You thought you'd be married with kids and own a home. But at this point, you started to wonder, and your words were, am I too old? You're at 39. Was that imaging from social media, society? I mean, we used to market midlife crisis with the guy with the Ferrari. Well, he had to have money to get the Ferrari. So at least he had some cash, right? But with women, it's lonely. It's I don't have anything. But you took to sharing this.
Yeah, for me, it was, being up late at night and wondering, is this what life is going to be? And am I where I thought I was going to be? And obviously, I'm single, no kid, but I am happy where I am. It's just more of along the lines of, if I only have my income, how do I get ahead too? Like, if I had a partner, it'd be a lot easier to get ahead financially.
And at 39, you were starting to believe that you were too old for those things to happen?
Yeah, I was like, is this too old for me to change? Am I really able to change the direction of my life? And, you know, it's something I still think about.
Jordan, you also struck a nerve by revealing that you got 3 jobs, $40, and I'm still getting my nails done. Give me some. Come on. I'm sorry.
I don't care.
People,
don't care.
there were people who were upset that you were just trying to find this little slice of joy, basically saying you were irresponsible, that, you know, what are you thinking? This is why you're in a hole.
Yeah.
But you were just trying to...
Like, be happy every 2 to 3 weeks. Like, I don't know. I mean,
and a little manicure never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's what everyone was looking at in the TikTok. Immediately, it was very positive. And then it got to a negative point where everyone was like, I see a sunroof in your car. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean I'm rich all of a sudden? I don't know. But then they saw the nails and they just thought that I had to be the irresponsible one, and it's not my circumstances.
So the idea that you're just trying to claw, no pun intended, a little joy here and there was that you were being this irresponsible young person.
Correct, yeah.
The burden of the finances, is that the number one thing that they're feeling?
Absolutely.
Not love, not finding a partner.
Certainly that's a challenge, but the majority of people still do get married if that's what they want. They still do have kids, even if it is happening later in life. I think the money is really such a stress, and obviously with inflation in the past couple years, but really student loans absolutely skyrocketed post 2008. That was something that came up all the time because there was less of a contribution from states. States really pulled back the money after 2008 and it never returned. So that's a burden that previous generations didn't have in the same way. I mean, I'm sure we've all heard our parents talk about how, you know, one semester was $500. And
That's right.
So that is a challenge that didn't exist in the past for people later in their lives. And again, as we discussed, the rent, the cost of living.
Well, it's heartbreaking because you feel like that, you know, if you're using track as an analogy, I ran track, you get in the blocks, they say go, your cleats are glued in because it's the debt that you owe before you're even 18 because of college and all of these other expectations and the expense of just getting out of the nest to try to fly.
Right. And I think what was frustrating is that people had been told, go to college. You will have a good life. You will be able to pay your bills.
Now, I'm going to call it, I'm going to run it over time. That's the biggest con. I mean, I'm going to go to break for any trouble. Coming up, a generational divide. We know being a mom is hard work, but it is actually harder, or is it, I should say, harder on millennial moms. What our guests have to say about that after the break. Show this hour we are talking about something called the Millennial Midlife Crisis, a topic making headlines, sparking big conversations across social media. And our next guest, 36-year-old Tyler Lloyd from Louisville, Kentucky, says he feels like he's lost his way. So he set a goal to find out what he wants his best life to look like by the time he hits 40. Tyler is documenting his journey on his YouTube channel, which has more than 1.3 million views. And Brandell Mills Cox is a 38-year-old communications professor, researcher, and mom of 2 from Washington, D.C. Okay, D.C. She opened up about her experience in the New York Times article that asked the question, are you having a millennial mom midlife crisis? Welcome, Tyler and Brandell. Reshma and Jessica are still with us. Thank you so much. Tyler, you're a new dad. You and your wife, Michelle, and your daughter, Rachel. Last August, we have a picture of you all. You said that you've been feeling a sense of unease and anxiety for some time. And when you became a parent for the first time, it just bubbled up.
Yeah. I think it was like imagining myself like being a dad and being like her example. Like, what is that going to be? Like, I'm going to be the person who's sort of like setting the tone for like how you should live your life as an adult. And I don't feel like I'm an adult. So like trying to okay, I have to scramble now to like get my life together to like emulate how, you know, you're supposed to grow into yourself. And I still haven't grown into myself, how I'm going to shepherd this little human into like doing that like on her own.
You launched your Project 40 asking yourself, is this my millennial midlife crisis? We have a clip, let's play it.
This whole Project 40 doesn't mean that I'm aiming for perfection by the time I hit 40. I am a work in progress now, and I'm definitely going to be a work in progress when I'm 40. And rather than living a life on autopilot, I want to live one that is a whole lot more intentional, where I'm consciously deciding what I'm doing and how I'm spending my time. One of the things I need to do is clean out this building.
All right. Some of the intentional things you want to do: physical health, emotional, mental health, spiritual, financial, relationships, community, career, creativity, and environment. That all equals life.
Yes.
In general, you are trying to reset your life.
Yeah. So I sat down and said, okay, what are all of the things that encompass a good life? And I want to work on all of those. So
What's the number one thing that determines a good life?
I just want to be content. That, like, I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be.
Okay,
moment to
that's
moment.
a fair answer. I love that. Brandell, you and your husband Daryl, you got 2 kids. June is 4,
Yes.
Chancellor is 2 years old.
He'll be 2 at the end of the month.
What a beautiful family.
you.
And in that picture, pure joy. But you talked about moments where you just want to go into the room and cry.
Yes. A lot of what I've learned from the research that I've done just with millennial mothers in general, and as well as my personal experiences, is that there are absolutely moments that we weren't prepared for. We are multitasking, we have these great careers, these great partners, we have multiple jobs, but there are times when it can just feel extremely overwhelming. And those moments are those moments where I just kind of want to go in the room and cry and, take time to myself and regroup. And what I'm learning to understand is that those moments are okay, and they will continue
they are
to
okay.
come.
They're okay.
They will continue to come.
Your beautiful mom is in the audience here in the blue and white
Hi,
there. You feel that there were some things that Mom, you wanted her to tell you, but she didn't.
She and I were having a conversation recently, and I told her she just made it look so easy. She was effortless in how she raised me and my siblings. And so now that I am in this role, I'm like, how did you do it? Like, what am I missing? Like, you made it look like you were just had it all together, extracurricular activities, and here I am feeling like in moments I'm barely keeping it together.
I love that you said that, Reshma. I think that's a big point, because so often parents, we want it to look easy and effortless, but you're not preparing your child, whether they are infants or adults, for the reality, because we're shielding them from the truth.
That's right.
It wasn't until I was much older that my mom used to say she would go in the prayer closet. I'm like, she's in the prayer closet. I think she's in there looking for work clothes. I don't know that life is lifing because she's hiding it from me.
That's right.
And so then when we experience it, God bless our parents who are amazing, they kept it from us.
That's right. It's especially moms, because moms aren't supposed to break.
Yeah.
We are not supposed to break, and we're not supposed to have anything for ourselves. I mean, the Surgeon General just said the most anxious generation right now is mothers. And we provide them the least amount of support. And I think, again, especially with midlife, it's like, we need to give them something for them, something that belongs to them, and it doesn't have to be about giving yourself to everyone else.
I want to talk more about, we're going to go to break, because I want to break down the mother, not that dads don't matter, but I'll get on my soapbox. I was a non-mom for 48 years, and sometimes I do think we forget the crisis of single women.